I'm Steve Fetter, Associate Provost and Dean of the Graduate School, and I'm delighted to be among the first to officially welcome you to the University of Maryland. Let me take care, yes. Let me take care of a few housekeeping items before we begin. First, please silence your cell phones, but we invite you to use them to tweet comments and questions to hashtag GSNSO 2018 during the orientation. You can also email questions to gradschool@umd.edu. Over the next few days, graduate school staff who are scattered throughout the two rooms will, but easily identified by their red polo shirts, will try to respond to all queries. So graduate school staff, can you please wave so we can see you? Okay. Second, we won't take formal breaks, but please feel free to use the restrooms and water fountains that are located just outside of the main entrances of both ballrooms. Third, we will follow the program with barbecue lunch to continue making new friends and get your picture with our special guest, Testudo. The lunch tickets you received when you entered the room are required, so please be sure to hold on to them. If you didn't receive a lunch ticket, please see a graduate school representative at the ballroom entrance. The lunch will take place right here in Stamp. Finally, the graduate school is also holding an orientation for spouses and partners of new doctoral students this morning in another room in the Stamp union, and that group will join us for lunch. So you and about 2,000 of your fellow new students are here this morning. We're holding the orientation simultaneously in the Grand Ballroom, this room, and the Colony Ballroom upstairs, with live guests and video feeds alternating between the rooms. Please allow me to introduce my colleague in the Colony Ballroom, Jeff Franke, Assistant Dean of the Graduate School. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you, Dean Fetter. We have an enthusiastic group here in the Colony Ballroom, and we are looking forward to the program. Let me also welcome you to Maryland. Our goals today are to explain what you can expect throughout your academic careers at Maryland, let you know how the graduate school partners with you to ensure your success, and to illustrate how graduate education transforms lives.
Okay, it's now my honor to introduce Senior Vice President and Provost of the University of Maryland, Dr. Mary Ann Rankin. The Provost is the Chief Academic Officer of the university with responsibility for all of your degree programs. Before coming to Maryland in 2012, Dr. Rankin was CEO of the National Math and Science Initiative, and for the prior 16 years was Dean of the College of Natural Sciences at the University of Texas at Austin. She has a well-deserved reputation for innovation in higher education and has extended that record at Maryland by establishing the Teaching and Learning Transformation Center and various collaborations with the University of Maryland, Baltimore, Big Ten peers, and others. Please join me in welcoming Provost Rankin.
Well, thank you, Steve. Let me be the third person this morning to officially welcome you to the University of Maryland. We are very, very proud to have you here. This is a wonderful turnout, and welcome to those in the Colony Ballroom. This is actually thrilling to see this whole room and virtually the other ballroom completely filled with new graduate students ready to undertake really the best part, in my opinion, of your education here at the University of Maryland. I remember my graduate student years as some of the best in my life, and especially in terms of the discoveries about the science I was interested in, but also even myself and the world. Somehow I came into maturity in many ways at that time, and I think you all will find the same thing happening to you. It truly is, I think, one of the best learning times that can be, because you're totally free to do that, and you're supported in so many different ways in doing that. I have to say, too, that I think our graduate student population is in some ways the most important part of the university population, in that you are the core of both our research and our teaching mission. You may not even realize all of that yourself yet, but graduate students are very often the people that work one-on-one with undergraduates in discussion sections and labs and so on, and really help guide undergraduates into whatever scholarship they're going to pursue. And of course, you are the hands that do most of the research in labs, in libraries, wherever your scholarship takes you. So in terms of the missions of the university, research and teaching, you are extremely important, and we realize that, and the graduate school is here to help support you in all of that. We have a very dispersed campus, as many major research universities are, of course. So we have something like, 94 83 different doctoral programs and 107 master's programs. So, and they're run out of the departments, colleges, schools, and so on in detail. The graduate school is here to help sort of coordinate all that, set some basic rules, and be here to help find money, help increase things like salaries if we possibly can, and we've been working on that. Do things like help develop additional possibilities for graduate housing. Lots of sort of general things fall under the graduate school, whereas the specific details of programs, of course, are managed by the graduate faculty in the different departments, schools, and colleges. But the graduate school is here to help and here to be a guide for you if you need that. So, as Steve said, ask questions, feel free to use us. We can't help if we don't know what the problem is. So I also want to say this morning, congratulations on your choice of university. This maybe sounds a little bit arrogant, but I've only been here for 6 years, as you heard. I knew I was coming to a very good university as provost, but I had no idea, honestly, when I came, how extraordinary this place is and what amazing opportunities there are at Maryland. Because, I mean, in some ways, it's to our great credit, but it's also just due to our geography. So I'm not sure how much credit we can take for that. It's like being tall or something. But really, because we're inside the Beltway, because over the years, Maryland has created all sorts of partnerships in this area with amazingly powerful agencies, companies, foundations. It means that our students also can take advantage of these things. And this is growing all the time. I think we're, as a university, taking more and more and better advantage of these kinds of opportunities all the time. So I really encourage you to think about that and think about how it can advantage you in your graduate career and beyond. As I said, this is the best time of life in some ways. You can explore in every direction, any direction, and Maryland affords more opportunities to explore globally, locally, in every direction than any place I can imagine. I have to say, I've been truly thrilled to see all the things that have just emerged during the 6 years while I've been here. A couple of things that I could point to specifically: we have a partnership with the University of Maryland, Baltimore now that is deep and rich. And for those of you for whom that would make a difference, I encourage you to mine that and explore it. And the provost's office and the graduate office would be happy to help with that. You know, the University of Maryland, Baltimore, for those of you who aren't familiar with this, it used to be part of University of Maryland, period, College Park, whatever. And in some dim, distant past, somebody thought it was a good idea to split. Maybe they got mad at the dean of the medical school or something, I don't know. But anyway, most of the professional schools are in Baltimore, and everybody else is down here. So it's an odd split. Many places have a medical school that's distant, but it's unusual that the law school, School of Social Work, pharmacy, dentistry, and medicine will all be somewhere else, while the whole complementary part of the university is in another town. So we have, over the last 5-6 years, built a closer and closer and closer partnership. So we have student exchanges, we have a lot of possibilities that for research exchanges. So as I say, I encourage you to take advantage of that if it fits your program and your interests. Another partnership that has developed over the last several years is with the Phillips Collection. Phillips Collection is, for those of you who aren't familiar with the DC area, is the oldest and in some ways one of the best modern art museums in the country, and certainly in the DC area. It is a close partner with us. We have many programs in common. Every Thursday night, there's a bus that goes down to the Phillips if you want to go for their Thursday evening events. They have a lot of them, lectures, exhibits, and so on. But again, it's a very different kind of partnership, but I encourage you to take advantage of it. But there's so many others with federal agencies, with embassies all over the place. So explore, think about these things for yourselves, and use this geographical advantage to your advantage, because you really can. Maryland also, I would say, has a real entrepreneurial spirit. It flows from the president, but it preceded him too. I think this is something that is maybe just ingrained in the walls here. But President Lowe has made that a hallmark of his presidency, as Dan Moat did before him. We're very interested in helping students and developing entrepreneurial ideas with you in whatever way we can. And again, the graduate school can help with that. But the Vice President for Research's office is all about this. Provost's office can help, so don't hesitate to ask. Maybe I should stop there and say, again, we're so proud to have you here, so pleased. We want this to be an extremely successful 1, 2, 4, 6, however many years it is while you're here with us. And we want to be a part of that success. We want you to really thrive and go on in your later years to use what you've learned and discovered here in all the best ways possible for Maryland, for the university, but for the country and the world. So thank you all, and welcome again.
Thank you, Provost Rankin.
It's now my honor to introduce Ms. Annie Rappaport. Annie is a second-year doctoral candidate in the College of Education. In May, Annie was elected president of the Graduate Student Government, or GSG, as it is known. GSG is an independent student organization that works closely with the graduate school and advocates for graduate students on and off campus. GSG also sponsors graduate student events and fosters a vibrant graduate student community. Annie.
Thank you, Dean Franke, and thank you to all of you who've done such a wonderful job putting together this grad school orientation for everyone today. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. Good morning and welcome, graduate students. You've made it. You're here. and we couldn't be happier to have you here with us today. And we're so happy you selected University of Maryland as the place where you embark on your graduate student journey. In my graduate assistantship role as president of the GSG, I get to work regularly with an incredible group of graduate students that really exemplify the diversity of our research backgrounds that include studying glacier melt in Greenland to language acquisition and memory formation in youth, from determining the non-target impacts of pesticides to mastering nonprofit management, and even some who are working in the theater world to create plays that challenge stereotypes and create spaces for meaningful dialogue. These conversations I'm having are simply inspirational. They're incredibly motivating. It's an honor to serve all of you. But I admire just as much the stories that aren't about the research. The graduate students who are working 3 jobs to obtain their dreams while remaining financially secure, the many graduate students who are coming back after working and are coming back with families and as parents, those who are returning from time served in the military, and for the thousands of you who have journeyed from other countries to come join us. I had the absolute pleasure of welcoming 12 of you during the airport shuttle program last week. And I know that our campus is enriched through your presence. So what is GSG? GSG stands for Graduate Student Government, and what we aim to do is to serve and empower University of Maryland graduate students to thrive during their time here. We are one of your many resources alongside the Graduate School, where you can find the Office of External Funding, the Office of Graduate Student Life, Graduate Student Legal Aid, the Graduate Writing Center, whose motto is academic English is no one's first language, a place that I like to frequent. And those are just the tip of the iceberg. We wish to connect you with resources you need to take care of the whole you. We are your advocates for issues including student fees, academic policies, transportation, affordable housing, graduate assistantship rights, and much more. There are many on this campus here to support you, so never hesitate to approach us and ask us for assistance. To be connected, you need to get involved, and GSG is one of the best ways to get involved. If you decide to become involved with graduate student government, you will get to see firsthand how things work at the university level. And you will be invited to participate in decision-making dialogues. We are currently seeking to fill multiple program representative vacancies and a couple of vice presidential roles. It is a perfect time to join our group as we begin the new academic year. There are also other ways to be involved, through committee work and through attending our monthly open assemblies. Past achievements of GSG, which can show you some of the projects you could be working on, include the creation of academic support initiatives, mutual expectation agreements between graduate students and their advisors, helping obtain a comprehensive parental leave policy for graduate student parents, extending health benefits for 9.5-month graduate assistants over the summer, the annual research symposium known as Graduate Research Appreciation Day, and several community building events like our monthly graduate mixers. Speaking of, our first graduate student mixer, co-sponsored with UVA, is this Thursday evening at Terrapin Turf. So we hope you'll come out and join us. We already have over 150 people coming. It is a great opportunity to meet one another in what is otherwise, as Provost Rankin said, a very dispersed campus. We also have space right here in the Stamp Student Union with a graduate student lounge down below, where you can come in for free coffee Thursdays, join us for a monthly social series, and we hope you will come to the initial kickoff on August 30th. Please stay informed. So you'll see up here, we have our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, and our org sync. This is how we're gonna be able to tell all of you when we have graduate assistant openings that come across our radar, when we have different workshops like grant geography, and when we have community building events, and also when we have vacancies we need to fill. I just want to end by saying that the stories I'm hearing, and all of you are welcome to come talk to me, I have an open door policy, are really what drives myself, my fellow executives, and all of the program representatives on GSG. So keep doing what you're doing, but know that we're here to help you. Thanks.
Thank you, Annie. Throughout the program, we will be playing short video clips of our 3-minute thesis, otherwise known as 3MT, campus winners. The purpose of the 3MT is for each student to describe his or her research to an educated audience in 3 minutes. The campus winner competes for prizes in an international competition and in other state and regional competitions. Before we hear about opportunities for Maryland's graduate students to extend their learning and research opportunities far beyond campus, here is the first 3MT video.
Take your hand and put it on your face. Now imagine your hand is a parasite, a lot like a tick, but instead of sucking out your blood, it's liquefying one of your internal organs and sucking part of that out of your body. If you were a honeybee, you wouldn't have to imagine. You'd know this nightmare all too well already. I'm talking about the parasitic mite Varroa destructor. And no, the name isn't overly dramatic. This is one crazy parasite. Pesticides may currently dominate the discussion on why our honeybees are dying in such high numbers, but the science is clear that Varroa destructor is the main reason for it. And this is definitely something that we should be concerned about. How many of you had coffee this morning? You have honeybees to thank for that, as well as 1/3 of every bite of food that reaches your mouth. So it may surprise you to find out that with Varroa being so important to the health of such a vital organism, that we don't know what they're eating when they attach themselves to bees. It's been accepted as if axiomatic that Varroa feed on the bee's blood. But while looking through the body of research, I found that we've been citing a study for nearly half a century that never actually proved that. Enter my project. The goal was to figure out what Varroa is eating. I started with the question, where do they feed? If they can feed anywhere on a bee, the way that a tick can on you, then they're probably feeding on blood. However, if they feed only in one spot, maybe they're eating a tissue specific to that location. The results? They feed only in one spot, on the underside of the bee's abdomen. The tissue in this area is called the fat body, and this is significant because the fat body doesn't just store nutrients. It detoxifies pesticides, regulates hormone levels, it produces the honeybee's primary immune response to microbial invaders, and that's just 4 of its 9 functions. So, I stained the bee's fat body and blood with fluorescent tissue-specific biostains and recorded what we found in the mites. While they did ingest some blood, the vast majority of their meal was fat body. Then I needed to determine which of these tissues was integral to Varroa's survivorship and reproduction. I did this by allowing them to feed on decoy bees that I constructed and filled with blood or fat body. Varroa-fed blood died quickly and produced very few eggs, no different from the group that was starved. However, those fed fat body were the only ones able to survive the full 7-day duration of the study, and they produced 6 times more eggs. So it appears we had it wrong. We've been thinking of these parasites as vampires when they're actually more like werewolves. And maybe we've had so little success in killing them because we've been trying to drive a stake through something for which we needed a silver bullet. Now, we're investigating the question of whether we can introduce an agent into the fat body that will disrupt the reproductive cycle of Varroa when they feed. Hopefully, these findings will lead to a day when this parasite is affectionately called the crisis formerly known as Varroa destructor.
Isn't that great? So that was, yeah. So that was Samuel Ramsey, a 2018 PhD graduate from the Department of Entomology. And our 2017 first place winner, Sammy went on to win first place in the International U21 3MT competition, as well as the People's Choice Award. And I hope that all of you will consider doing a 3MT presentation when you get to that point in your graduate studies. So today we begin a journey together. Graduate school is essentially a lifestyle and a commitment to devote one's time and energy nearly single-mindedly in the pursuit of a degree. I understand that life doesn't stop. You may be learning a new culture. You may be recently or soon to be married. Your family may be expanding, but you're not alone on this journey. The graduate school and our partners across campus are here to ensure you succeed. I hope you will find graduate school as exciting, valuable, fulfilling, and life-changing as I did many years ago. Now let me tell you a little bit about yourselves. You are a select group. We received over 22,000 applications for graduate study this year. You are part of an incoming class of over 3,000 graduate students, including about 800 doctoral and 2,300 master's students. You are a diverse group. About 60% of you are from the United States, of which nearly a quarter are from underrepresented groups. There are students from every state in the United States. Only a quarter of you are from Maryland, so the rest, this will be an opportunity for the rest of you to learn about crab cakes, Old Bay, Natty Boh, and Smith Island cake. Nearly 40% of you come from abroad. You're joining a graduate student body from 114 countries, including over 2,000 from China, nearly 100 from India, more than 200 from Korea, and over 100 students from Iran. I'd like to extend a special welcome to those students who endured difficulties and uncertainties with the visa process in order to study here. As Provost Rankin mentioned, you are enrolled in 82 doctoral programs and 107 master's programs spread across 12 colleges and schools. You can see the distribution of enrollment here by college. The largest doctoral programs are in the natural sciences, physics and biology, and computer science and engineering. The largest master's programs are in business, engineering, education, and information studies. In fact, those 4 colleges make up over 3/4 of the master's students. The University of Maryland, as Provost Rankin mentioned, can offer opportunities that few other institutions can match. Last year, our faculty, students, and postdocs brought in over $550 million in sponsored research support, 4th among U.S. institutions without a medical school. Last year, the University of Maryland faculty and students published nearly 5,000 academic articles, 6th among public universities, even though we're not nearly close to being one of the largest public universities. We're an institution on the move and are always striving to get better. One indication of this is the building boom that's going on around campus. About $2 billion worth of new buildings have been recently completed or under construction, including a new physical sciences complex, a state-of-the-art teaching facility that's just across the street, new bioengineering and computer science buildings, a deluxe hotel, a center for sports medicine and human performance, a new building for the School of Public Policy, and we hope, if it's approved, a new graduate student housing complex. The Discovery District, which is located on the east side of Baltimore Avenue near the College Park Metro Station, already contains a number of research organizations, including the NOAA Center for Weather and Climate Prediction, the Joint Global Change Research Institute, FDA's Center for Food Safety and Applied Nutrition, the American Institute of Physics, and the Applied Research Lab for Intelligence and Security. There are plans for much more, including space for faculty and graduate students who want to start companies to commercialize their research. But that's not all. We are 8 miles from the world's policy and research capital. The National Institutes of Science and Technology, the National Institutes of Health are close by, as are major NASA, USDA, FDA, Army, and Navy research labs. The state of Maryland ranks first in the nation in federal research expenditures. 1/6 of all federal R&D, over $20 billion a year, happens in Maryland and DC. There are numerous opportunities for research, internships, networking, not to mention jobs after graduation. Construction has begun on the Purple Line. When it opens in 2021, it will make the campus even more connected to the region and to DC. This light rail line will run from Bethesda near the National Institutes of Health with connections to 5 existing metro stations. 5 stops will be on campus, and students will be able to ride for free between those stops. And our connections extend well beyond DC. 5 years ago, the university joined the Big Ten Academic Alliance, the counterpart of the Big Ten Athletic Conference. Our Big Ten membership provides many opportunities for our graduate students, including a traveling scholar program that enables PhD students to pursue short-term study at member institutions, and Big Ten fellowship programs and grants. As just one example, the Big Ten, over the last 2 years, has awarded 14 Smithsonian fellowships, and 5 of those 14 went to Maryland students. As a member of the Big Ten, You have access to all the libraries of all of the institutions, the faculty, the research, travel, and courses of our 13 partners. If we don't have it here, we have the means to get it for you, either by bringing it here or by having you travel to Michigan, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Northwestern, or any of our Big Ten partners. And lastly, through our partners in the Universitas 21 Consortium, you have access to the research and courses at institutions in Canada, Mexico, South America, Europe, South Africa, Australia, China, Japan, and more. You have joined a truly global university. I'd like to share with you a video now about the Big Ten Academic Alliance and how its programs and opportunities can enhance your graduate career.
The CIC is a consortium of 15 research universities. The members of the Big Ten Athletic Conference and the University of Chicago was actually started by the presidents in 1958 as the academic counterpart to the athletic conference. We like to say that our universities compete on the gridiron on Saturday, but they're in the classroom collaborating on Monday. We do that work in several ways. One is through building communities of practice across the institutions. So people of like and similar position meet together to share best practices. And then the other way is through directed, targeted project management of very large-scale projects that the campuses can't manage on their own. The libraries of the CIC have a very active collaboration together, which I think is a wonderful model for all kinds of potential collaboration across the institutions. CIC libraries together own 110 million book volumes. All of these volumes are available to students, faculty, and staff from across all of the institutions. The libraries have also combined their purchasing power on contracts that lower the price for the purchases that they make on those books and journals, saving money, sharing their assets, and creating new opportunities that wouldn't have existed without their collaboration. A student at one campus can take advantage of the study abroad opportunities at any of the other campuses. Graduate students can travel for up to a year to another CIC university to access specialized courses and laboratories. We offer some online language learning opportunities across the CIC, fellowships from organizations such as the Smithsonian or for summer research. So there's a whole range of student opportunities that are immediately open to any student across the CIC universities. The area of greatest opportunity for our member universities right now is in the research portfolio. Our universities conduct $10.8 billion in funded research every year. That is more than the University of California system and the Ivy League combined. First of all, we've laid the basis for shared research infrastructure. So we have a shared fiber optic network across the campuses, and faculty are using it to push data to the Large Hadron Collider experiment in CERN, Switzerland. They're using it to begin the investigation of traumatic brain injury. We're just starting to look at working with states in our 11-state footprint to address health disparities, putting our infrastructure to work, our decision-making structure to work, and addressing that opportunity in the $10.8 billion in funded research is an amazing opportunity, I think, for our campuses. It's a goal of our member universities to increase the effectiveness, obviously, of our faculty and to build the best faculty in the nation. And part of that involves ensuring that there's an excellent representation within the faculty from folks who are in underrepresented groups, right? So CIC universities are able to harness many parts of the university in service to this objective. So we start with recruiting undergraduates to our summer research opportunity program. These students are recruited from all over the nation. Once they're on the campuses doing their research, we're then recruiting them into our graduate programs. Once they're in the graduate programs, we begin to look at them as potential faculty members. We have a very strong and active faculty leadership program in the CIC. It's been one of our actually longest serving programs here, in which case we bring together about 60 faculty members from across the consortium every year for leadership development and the examination of issues facing higher education. These are all folks that go on to be department heads, deans, and provosts. So when we think about what makes the CIC effective, I think that a couple of things come to mind. First of all is scale. These are some of the most influential research universities in the world, certainly in the nation, 15, so you have the scale. They're enormously effective and have tremendous reach. So we cover 11 states. And finally, we have the infrastructure to allow us to collaborate at scale. So while other institutions might think about collaboration, without the infrastructure, the trust that we have together as peer institutions and that history of working together, you just cannot get people to move at the same speed at the same time. Through collaboration, CIC universities are going to outperform every other group of research universities in the world because of their collaboration. It makes them better, faster, and smarter together.
That is a great overview of why the University of Maryland joined the Big Ten and how our graduate students can take advantage of this membership. If you would like to watch any of these videos again, they will be available on our website, gradschool.umd.edu. In addition to the academic support the graduate school provides, we are also committed to building a robust graduate community of students, faculty, friends, and families. With that in mind, I would like to give everyone in both rooms a few moments to stand, stretch your legs, and introduce yourselves to other new graduate students seated near you this morning. So don't be shy, we're all new students, so take a chance, meet some new faces, and welcome you all. And you've got about 3 minutes to do this until the next video starts. Okay.
When humans endure starvation during periods of severe weather or during human conflicts such as war, their children and their grandchildren have been reported to have altered metabolism. So that saying you are what you eat should really be you, your children, and your grandchildren are what you eat. Now, starvation could be affecting many different genes that are each making different proteins, making studies across generations a challenge. What we really need is to change one gene and to study that across generations. It was recently discovered that you could stop production of proteins by silencing the gene that makes those proteins. This was done by adding molecules called double-stranded RNA, or dsRNA, to silence a matching gene. This process of RNA interference was first discovered in the nematode that I study, this tiny little worm called C. elegans, but has since been reported in many animals, including humans. Now, amazingly, you can just feed dsRNA to these worms and silence genes in many different cells, and the silencing can then be seen in its progeny. But we don't completely understand how this dsRNA has this effect on the animal or in its progeny. So when I fed dsRNA to silence a gene that makes the worm long, the worm now became short. And when I fed dsRNA to silence a gene that causes the worms to fluoresce, the worm stopped glowing. Now, using this system with visible defects, I discovered that the initial dsRNA that was fed can move through the animal to reach different cells to cause silencing. However, silencing wasn't always detected in descendants. In fact, in most cases, silencing could only be detected for one generation. But we found one case where silencing was detected for more than 15 generations. So I'm now working on understanding why there are these differences for inheritance of gene silencing. Now, my work on silencing by dsRNA in this tiny worm could inform what happens in some other settings, and I have 3 great examples. 1, dsRNA is being sprayed on plants as a pesticide to kill the insects that eat these plants and consequently the dsRNA. 2, dsRNA is being explored as a potential therapeutic to silence genes that cause diseases. But most excitingly, RNAs have been found in human blood, and these RNAs could be changing in disease conditions or upon exposure to starvation. So understanding how these RNAs cause silencing across generations could teach us about how diseases are inherited and how experiences like starvation could affect us, our children, and generations to come.
Hey, I hope you enjoyed the opportunity to meet some new people and to stretch your legs. I also hope you enjoyed the 3MT video presenting Pravrutha Raman, a PhD candidate in the Department of Molecular and Cell Biology. She was the University of Maryland 3MT first place winner this year, 2018. Now, with the help of some distinguished guests, we will explore what you can expect academically during your graduate career. For those of you who are enrolled in a master's degree program, your time with us will be relatively short, or at least we hope. We hope it will be relatively short. You will learn how to apply the theories and best practices of your chosen field to real-world issues and problems. What you take away from your courses, internships, and other activities will enable you to start your new career or help you advance in your current job. Take advantage of the opportunities to explore new ideas and new paths. For those of you embarking on the journey toward a doctoral degree, the end goal may seem to be years away, but don't wait to think about your professional development. Whether you aspire to be a faculty member at a college or university, or whether you intend to look for a position in the myriad of other career options open to doctoral graduates, start now to develop the skills, knowledge, and experience that will ensure successful placement when you graduate. And to explore this further, I would like to introduce you to Ryan Long, Associate Dean for Academic Standards and Policies for the Graduate School and Associate Professor in the Department of Spanish and Portuguese. Ryan.
Thank you, Dean Fetter. We have assembled a distinguished panel of University of Maryland graduate faculty to share their wisdom and advice about what to expect in your studies and in the conduct of your research and how to reach your academic goals at Maryland. I would like to introduce 3 distinguished faculty members who have joined me on the stage today: Professors Michelle Espino, Colin Phillips, and Michelle Gervin. Michelle Espino is an associate professor in the College of Education's Department of Counseling, Higher Education, and Special Education. She received her doctoral degree from the University of Arizona. Her research interests include establishing more inclusive environments that support and enhance students' educational attainment, particularly Latinx educational pathways. Welcome, Dr. Espino. Colin Phillips is professor of linguistics and a distinguished scholar teacher. Dr. Phillips received his PhD from the Michigan Institute of Technology, and his research interests include psycholinguistics and language science. Welcome, Dr. Phillips. Michelle Gervin is associate professor of physics. She received her PhD from Cornell University. Her research focuses on complex networks and falls at the intersection of statistical physics, nonlinear dynamics, and computer science. Welcome, Dr. Gervin. And Dr. Espino, would you please take the lead?
Sure. Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. All right, good. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. As my introduction, I'm a first-generation college student, so shout out to all the first-gen students who are out there. I am the first in my family to go to college. I am the child of immigrants, and here I am. I'm celebrating my 10th year as a faculty member and my tenure here at the University of Maryland. So that was just announced like 3 months ago, so. I earned a master's degree and then went into practice, working specifically on colleges and universities, and then decided to earn a doctorate and become a faculty member. So I see both sides of the coin in terms of what it is to do professional practice, but then also what it means to be a faculty member and do research. And particularly, I study higher education, so my interest is about you and how can we help you to succeed, right? And so one of the thoughts that I have in this process is thinking about your families and communities. I think this is one of the first things that we have to think about. Often students are looked at as just empty receptacles that we just like dump all of our expertise and knowledge on. And the reality is that you're more than that. You have a lot of experiential knowledge, a lot of personal knowledge, a lot of professional knowledge that you bring to the table. That's why we chose you to come here to the University of Maryland. So we want you to be able to engage in the classroom. We want you to ask critical questions. We want you to be that critical thinker who's going to push the boundaries of what we know and help us to question our social institutions, what we know in terms of our science, and being able to do it in an ethical and responsible way. And so these are the things that I think we really try very hard as faculty to be able to do that. And in doing so, we're also trying to socialize you both into the profession and into our discipline. And so sometimes that can coincide, and sometimes that actually contradicts your own personal values and beliefs. And so how do we help you to manage your own values, right, and what you bring to the table, and then also what the discipline requires of you? So these are some of the questions that you have to be thinking about, and particularly figuring out how it works best for you. So thinking about the assets that you bring to the table, and being able to work with your colleagues in the classroom and with your faculty to be able to ask those critical questions. And I think that that's an important aspect of what we do. One of the things that I think is most important is, especially if you're a doctoral student out there, you may have an idea of what you want to do with your research, but also be flexible about where this education is going to lead to. And this also goes for our master's students, about being able to explore courses that are outside of your specific discipline, opportunities to take electives in other colleges in on our campus, being able to interact with faculty just outside of your specific discipline. I think this is an important way of networking and developing that social network that you need. You cannot go through this graduate experience alone. You need brother and sister scholars who are going to be there with you late at night in the library or in the coffee shop or somewhere else on Baltimore Avenue. And because you need that too, it's important to have work-life integration. Even if that integration is very tiny, you do need an outlet. Opportunities to be able to process your experience and seeking the help that you need, whether that's through your peers, with your faculty, or through the many campus resources that we have available on campus. So I can tell you that the road is going to be challenging, as I experienced as a first-generation college student. But I have a passion for what I do, and I really do hope that your time here at the university will help to create that passion for you. What is it that you really care about, and how can we help you to do that through your coursework and through your practice?
Okay. Thank you. So, is this on now? Yeah, okay. So, actually, I never studied in Michigan. Contrary to what Ryan said, but my wife is from Michigan, so the state has had a very big influence on my life, bigger than where I studied. Like Michelle, I'm also a first-generation college student. I'm also an international student. I was in the same position as you 28 years ago. It seems like an eternity, but it goes by incredibly, incredibly quickly. So my message to you today is to get outside. And there are 6 different ways in which I think you can get outside. If you're an international student, you already got outside in a big way, so congratulations, you did great. But in thinking about how to get outside, you need to know what you're going to do when you get outside. Okay, so my cat is a good analogy of what you don't want to be. My cat wants to get outside, but he has no plan for what he's going to do when he gets there. He runs outside, and then he's like, oh crap, what am I going to do? Munches some grass, and then sheepishly comes back because he has no idea what he's going to do. You can do better than that. I guarantee you're smarter than my cat. So first, get outside your comfort zone. So you need to push yourself, and you need to be ready for lifelong adaptability. You're going to learn here what's hot now, but you better hope that what's hot in 2020 is not hot in 2040, when you might be at the peak of your career, okay? So you're going to need to learn new things along the way and keep learning, so you need to learn how to keep learning, how to keep changing. Don't expect to be right. You never learn anything when you're right. You learn things when you're interestingly wrong. I've benefited from that because I'm wrong a lot. So to embrace being wrong, don't expect to get everything right, and you're not here to get good grades. You're here to fail interestingly. And then recover from that. I really mean that. And once you get into that mindset, you can enjoy things going wrong much, much more. Second, get outside the traditional curriculum and traditional pathways. Graduate training is changing. So the birth of the modern research university was actually here in the state of Maryland, at Johns Hopkins University, where the model for combining teaching and research started in 1870. The world has changed since 1870. Models of graduate training have changed a bit more slowly, but we're making efforts to change that. So scholarship is now more diverse. There are many, many different forms of communication. Careers are changing too. So not only are there more diverse pathways that people are taking, but academic careers are also changing. There are very different expectations on people. You're expected to be more entrepreneurial. And there are more different types of careers need advanced degrees. Your PhD is not a method it's not there for cloning professors. PhDs are there for training the intellectual leaders in an advanced society, and that's many different things that involves. And being a leader involves more than just writing papers. So if you're being told just write papers, ask again. There's more to it than that. Your success will be dependent on how much initiative and ownership you take of your own destiny. You're not a consumer, you're a creator now. Know what you're doing and why, know what your own values are, and keep asking, are you doing the things that you value? You can create the environment that you live in, and your success will depend a lot on good mentoring. But good mentoring doesn't just happen to you. You can create good mentoring by being an active participant in it yourself. You're going to have to communicate a lot in a lot of different ways. That's something which is changing a lot compared to how it was even 20 years ago. And if you work at it, you will get better. So, some examples. So, I sometimes blog on the question answering site Quora. I don't know if anyone ever reads it, but writing for a broad audience makes me better. I do social media for a nonprofit that I work with. Instagram is almost illegal for someone my age, but it makes me a better communicator. We have a student outreach program with high schools in our program. We thought it would be good for reaching a broader community. It is, but it also made us better at talking to each other. If we can explain to 16-year-olds, we can explain to a computer scientist better what we do. We find other ways just to keep ourselves communicating, trying out different things all the time. Third, get outside your advisor's shadow. Your job is not to be the same as your advisor. You need to collect and connect and collaborate with other people, talk with others in other fields, borrow ideas, get used to different scientific cultures. It's scary how quickly you get acculturated to the means of your own discipline. And you can find some things 2 disciplines over that work completely different. It's really good to get outside that. Get conflicting advice. If you're getting the same advice, that's unhelpful. Get different people giving you different advice and then figure it out. Then you'll be better off, you'll have made your own choices. Fourth, get outside your home department and your institution. There are lots of ways in which you can do that. Meet people from other programs. Get yourself less isolated in graduate school. You can go to other universities in the US or abroad. You heard about the Big Ten. You can take advantage of the graduate school's International Graduate Research Fellowships program that allows people from here to go abroad, other people from abroad to come here. You can get involved in the Universitas 21 programs the university offers. You can apply for National Science Fund if you're in the sciences. You can apply for East Asian and Pacific Summer Institute fellowships from the National Science Foundation. There are loads of possibilities. And getting outside, being in a different environment, that will help you to prepare for lifelong adaptability. And in the Washington, D.C. area, there are amazing resources and ways to get yourself connected to more things. One example, one of my graduate students, Nick Huang, this summer, he has a background in language and in economics. And he was a volunteer intern this summer at a program that is trying to develop language immersion programs in the DC public schools and was trying to help them assess the cost effectiveness. Great use of his talents, great way of learning how the communities work outside the university. Really transformative experience for him. Fifth, get outside help. Mental health for graduate students is a real thing, and it's not something to be shy or embarrassed about. Okay, it's a real thing. It affects a lot of people. There are a lot of resources out there to help you. Don't wait to get help. There are resources online, people at the graduate school or the counseling center. Don't be afraid to use them. If you're not a little bit anxious at this point, then that's something to be worried about. But there's lots of help. And finally, just get outside already. Don't be locked indoors. Well, maybe in the middle of August it's kind of unpleasant staying indoors, but the rest of the year, get outside. College Park, if you drive down Route 1, you may not realize it, but College Park has an amazing network of bike trails, forests, lakes, nature. Connect with that. It'll make you feel much better. I'm out there almost every morning, running on the trails. It's a great way to start the day, great way to relax, get my mind into good shape. Sometimes you get ideas. Concretely, come join on Saturday mornings at College Park Park Run. That's an event we hold every Saturday morning, co-sponsored by the city and the university. Brings people together from the mayor to students, construction workers, community members. It's one of the easiest ways to get connected to the community. How to start on any of this? Come talk to us at lunch. And remember, don't be like my cat.
So I'm going to echo some of the same sentiments you've heard already, but for me, one thing I learned in graduate school is that just hearing the same thing different ways is really, really useful. So I first want to start out by encouraging you to use your time here to find your academic voice. I'm a type A personality, so the notion of go find yourself always seemed so foreign to me, and I didn't understand it. And then one day it sort of dawned on me that finding yourself you can do in a type A way. And so that's what graduate school was all about for me. You can be methodical about, well, I want to explore and learn different things. There might be something I'm already passionate about, but maybe there's something else that I would work even so much harder on. And so that's what I encourage you to do. You're in a program, compared to undergrad, it probably seems like, oh, you've really narrowed down your choices in your future. And that's not true. You might be narrowing down the subject matter that you study, but within every PhD program, within every master's program that we have here, there's such a diversity of possible career options. So I want to encourage you to explore within that, or even outside that, what you're most excited about. So along those lines, develop an appreciation for the questions and methods of other fields. I work in a very interdisciplinary area, and to me, that has helped me, even in tackling traditional disciplinary questions. Learning the other techniques that people in other fields do helps sort of broaden your perspective. But it's not only about the different types of topics that I want you to consider broadening. I also want you to think about finding your scientific or academic style, right? So communication, as you've heard, is just so important. It's even more important in this information age. But not all good communicators have the exact same communication style. So for me, one thing that really helped is just watching people and looking at speakers who really I felt they communicated very well, but looking at those different styles of communication. You know, I'm never going to be a stand-up comic. That is not something, I might enjoy it. I may think, oh, this person is so funny, but that's not going to be the way that I try to reach people. And so I learned, well, okay, this style, this is something that I can work towards. And then working towards that, really take advantage of mentoring. This is something that I wish I did better as a graduate student. And multiple mentors are so important. Your advisor is just one mentor. They might have great advice for you, but it's one type of advice. And you want to have different types of advice that might fit better for you. But you want to be mentorable. You know, certain people, if you ask them for their advice, maybe some people will only point out what you're doing wrong. Some people might only pat you in the back about what you're doing right. But if you can actually tease out the information you need from either of those types to try to say, okay, well, maybe that's what I'm doing right, but what can I work on? So work with your mentors to help evolve, find your strengths and weaknesses, leverage those strengths and improve on those weaknesses. And then, you know, in this, when you're passionate about science, I think, and academics, I think that creates a space for you to fail interestingly, as Colin said, or fail until you don't, and then do it again. And I also want to encourage you to cultivate good work habits. This is something that I think in your undergraduate years, it's easy or easier to get by with success not having the best work habits. And you can also do it in graduate school, but it will continually kind of come back to bite you. So work now towards having better work habits, respecting the time of others, being on time, trying to get things done early. I know sometimes for me, the loose structure of graduate school, especially when you're just working on your thesis, it's hard to motivate yourself to get a big chunk done now when the deadline is way off. But if you can cultivate those habits, they're going to pay for themselves over and over again in your future. So with that, I hope that you get outside and enjoy your experience here.
My apologies to Professor Phillips. He took the PhD from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Our distinguished faculty members' comments, insights, and suggestions have been very helpful. Please join me in thanking all three of them. Thank you very much.
When you think of x-rays, you might think about your last traumatic visit to the dentist or the first time you broke a bone. But x-rays are not just produced in doctors' offices, they also exist in space. X-rays come from some of the largest, hottest, and most energetic objects in the universe. They are emitted from million-degree gas spiraling into black holes, the explosive death of massive stars, and from gas between galaxies that live in clusters. These objects hold keys to questions that astronomers have spent long nights and countless computer hours trying to solve, like how do black holes grow and shape their home galaxies? Where does dark matter like to live, and why there? Hitomi was an X-ray satellite that was recently launched to answer these questions. A detector on board, built by my group at NASA, would transform light from these faraway objects into patterns of lines. Each spectral line is a unique signature of a certain element, like oxygen, and allows us to learn about the environment in which it lives, maybe spewing out from near the center of a black hole. In contrast to the high precision of Hitomi, detectors on older satellites would give spectra of fat bumps and wiggles, blending together and confusing this crucial information. About a month after Hitomi's launch, a software glitch made the satellite spin itself into oblivion, flinging solar panels and scientific instruments into space. Luckily, Hitomi performed one observation of a cluster of galaxies called Perseus before it was lost, but something was off. Thanks to the improved detector technology, we could see better, and we realized how much we didn't know. The models we were using to understand the Perseus spectrum could not explain many of the features we saw. Some of the lines in these models were misplaced or even missing, meaning our calculations of temperatures, densities, and concentrations of elements present could be wrong. The problem? We don't understand enough of the basic atomic physics behind the creation of these spectral features. I'm working on this problem so that we get our science right. I do something called laboratory astrophysics. I perform and analyze data from experiments done in labs on Earth that reproduce conditions that exist in space. I use a giraffe-sized instrument called an electron beam ion trap, or an EBIT, to shoot electrons through gas to create ions. I determine how processes affecting those ions on quantum scales express themselves through the X-ray light they emit. I use a Hitomi-style detector to precisely measure the spectra of environments like the Perseus cluster, and I collaborate with theorists to use my data to verify current spectral models and soon create more accurate ones. There is hope that we will launch a successor to Hitomi, which will observe black holes and stellar explosions with unprecedented resolution. My laboratory predictions will enable us to better interpret these observations and this time get our science right.
That was Gabriela Betancourt Martinez, a 2017 PhD graduate from the Department of Astronomy and our 2016 3MT winner. In this morning's final session, I want to briefly share with you an overview of the many programs and resources that the Graduate School offers. Our website, gradschool.umd.edu, is a key source of information. The website includes news, forms, deadlines, policies, a calendar of events, and other resources. So check gradschool.umd.edu often for updates. When you need in-person assistance, the staff at the Graduate School Information Center are here to help. The Information Center is located in room 2123 in the Lee Building and is open daily, Monday through Friday, from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. with extended hours as necessary. An important resource on our website is Graduate Pathways. Graduate Pathways can help you navigate through the graduate school experience toward your future career success by setting goals, building expertise, managing your career, developing communication and leadership skills, and engaging and connecting. The Pathways page provides information about each of these steps and the resources that are available across campus. The Graduate School Student Success Team offers a range of programs and resources to help you find the right path. This includes the Graduate School Writing Center, the Office of Professional and Career Development, the Office of Funding Opportunities, and the Office of Graduate Diversity and Inclusion. Becoming an effective writer and speaker will enable you to take your expertise beyond the university, and the Graduate School Writing Center, located in McKeldin Library, provides support as you develop those skills. The Writing Center offers one-on-one consultations for written and oral communication, workshops on a range of common graduate writing and speaking requirements, writing groups, and writing retreats. Our writing fellows, advanced graduate students from a range of disciplines, are trained to help you polish your academic writing skills. You can find more information about the Graduate School Writing Center, including an extensive schedule of workshops at gradschool.umd.edu. The Graduate School Writing Center can also help you learn correct citation practice and ensure you're upholding a high standard of academic integrity. Academic integrity is a core value of the university. All students are bound by the university's honor code, which is administered by the Student Honor Council. You're responsible for upholding the honor code in the courses you take, the courses you teach, in your research, and in the papers you write. You can find more information about the honor code and academic integrity on the Student Honor Council website, including how you can serve as a member of the Honor Council. We believe every graduate student should be intentional about their professional development and how their education, experiences, and skills align with their career goals. The Graduate School's Office of Professional and Career Development works with the University Career Center and the Career Services offices in the colleges of engineering, business, public policy, and your graduate program to help you develop specific career and professional goals. They offer a range of workshops, events, online resources, and career advising appointments. Each year, the Graduate School provides over $13 million to more than 1,700 graduate students. This support helps students complete their research and studies and provides opportunities for travel and collaboration around the world. The Graduate School's Office of Funding Opportunities manages fellowship and award competitions, assists students in their search for external funding, and offers resources and training to help students find and apply for funding. Our robust fellowship and award program includes travel grants to support graduate students who are presenting a paper or a poster at a conference, recruitment fellowships, research fellowships to help students reach benchmarks in their program, and dissertation fellowships to provide students with the time and support needed to write their dissertation. Information about all of these funding opportunities can be found at gradschool.umd.edu, so please attend one of our information workshops or simply contact the Office of Funding Opportunities for more information. The Graduate School's Office of Diversity and Inclusion recruits and helps ensure the success of students from underserved and underrepresented populations, including students of color, first generation and low-income students, students with disabilities, LGBTQ students, international and other students whose first language is not English, veterans and active duty military personnel, and non-traditional students. OGD collaborates with several campus partners to offer a range of program events, and in keeping with its mission of inclusion, these are open to everyone, all students, faculty, and staff. While we do our best to ensure that your graduate studies go smoothly, sometimes students encounter situations in their programs or with their advisors that they cannot resolve on their own. The Graduate School Ombuds Officer is available to assist. The Ombuds Officer serves as a confidential and neutral third party who can inform you of your options, assist with conflict resolution, and refer you to other university resources as appropriate. The Graduate School Ombuds Officer is Professor Mark Shaman. To schedule an appointment, contact him by email at shaman@umd.edu. In coming to Maryland to pursue graduate study, you've joined a community of students from around the world. The Graduate Student Life Office, located in 0121 of the Stamp Student Union, works to make your life as a graduate student as fulfilling as your academic studies. Graduate Student Life, GSL, helps to build a community of graduate students and their spouses, partners, and families. They offer a range of events, from a weekly coffee break to a monthly series of events, craft nights, and family-friendly programming. They publish a weekly e-newsletter with updates and information relevant to graduate life. Watch for it in your inbox. The Graduate Student Kickoff occurs August 30th from 3:30 to 9 p.m., so come back to the Union then to learn more about the wide range of opportunities for you to build an engaged and healthy graduate life. The Graduate School collaborates with many other units across campus to support your development. This includes the Graduate Student Legal Aid Office, the International Student and Scholar Services Unit, and the Teaching and Learning Transformation Center, which offers teacher training for graduate students as well as faculty. And I do want to put in a plug for our Performing Arts Center here. We have a wonderful Performing Arts Center with about 6 stages with over 1,000 performances every year, and all students are eligible for discount tickets. I think the tickets are only $10. So we hope you will use the resources I just described to help you get the most out of your graduate experience. Remember, the Graduate School is here to support you through the whole process. Stay connected with us through social media, and remember to check our website frequently. So I know we've provided a lot of information in a short amount of time this morning, but everything that you just saw and heard has been recorded and will be available on our website along with the accompanying slides. So visit our website. You all know the address now, right? gradschool.umd.edu, not only to see the videos, but to find answers to your questions and information and other important resources. To conclude this morning's program, I want to introduce you to a Maryland alumnus, Dr. John Bullock. Dr. Bullock received a doctorate in government and politics from the University of Maryland, a master's in city and regional planning from the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and a bachelor's degree in political science from Hampton University. He is an assistant professor in the Department of Political Science at Towson University, where he teaches courses in urban politics and metropolitan studies. We invited Dr. Bullock because he's a model for how University of Maryland graduate alumni can affect their community. Dr. Bullock ran for Baltimore City Council 2 years ago and won. In addition, Dr. Bullock was president of the Evergreen Protective Association and a former member of the Baltimore City Democratic State Central Committee. He serves on several boards of directors, including the Coppin Heights Community Development Corporation, the Empowerment Academy, and the Maryland Baptist Aged Home. John is also a regular contributor for media outlets, including local ABC, NBC, and CBS affiliates, Maryland Public Television, and local public radio stations. Dr. Bullock will share insights about his graduate career, what helped him be successful, and how you can take advantage of the many opportunities for success here. Dr. Bullock.
Well, good morning. Oh, wake up a little bit. Good morning. Everybody should be excited today, right? You're starting a new journey, right? This is a new opportunity for you. I remember being in this same space where you are 13 years ago now, and it was this new beginning for me. I had just moved. I had just gotten into grad school. I was trying to figure all of it out, just like so many of you are. And what I'm going to talk about today is going to touch you whether you're in the sciences, social sciences, humanities, all that, because you're all here for this opportunity to grow, to learn. Part of this journey for me, having been in academia and in government and community engagement and organizing, a lot of it really was fed by my experience being here. And you're in a room full of scholars and practitioners and activists and folks who are going to have a great impact in this world, including you. And so navigating this process, it can be challenging, but it's not impossible. There are some of you who are coming with masters, or some of you who are working on PhDs and other degrees. And I will say that for me, it was a challenge not only getting through college and grad school as a first-generation college student. And so part of this journey of being a first-generation college student to then being a college professor, having the opportunity to learn and grow here at the University of Maryland. And you are now part of an illustrious group. This is the flagship institution for our state, and I do say flagship for a reason. Who's from Maryland? Just raise your hand. How many of you are from Maryland? Okay, so those of you from Maryland will notice that our flag is everywhere, right? And those of you who are new to Maryland will begin to see that our flag is everywhere. When I say our flag, I'm talking about the black and the gold and the red and the white. And even with the pin that I have on today is the Baltimore City flag, which is a portion of that state flag, which is black and gold. And even if you look at, and this might be a little bit of a history thing, but if you look at Maryland as a state, I love it because it has so many idiosyncrasies, right? Is it a northern state or is it a southern state, right? Some say it's too far south to be north, too far north to be south, right? It was part of the Union during the Civil War, but that was also by force, and they had Confederate sympathizers, right? Or as Thurgood Marshall used to refer to it as the Up South. So there's a lot of schizophrenia as it relates to the state of Maryland, and I embrace all of that. But again, you'll see it on socks, t-shirts, pins, ties, all of that. And we do love our state flag, and if you're not from here, you'll begin to love it too. But the question then is, what is it that you want to do? What is it that you came here to do? And I should probably take off my watch because I don't want to take up too much time, because as us academics can speak for an hour and a half, and I know you didn't come here for all of that, so I will spare you that. But what is it that you want to do? And what is it going to take for you to get there? Before coming to Maryland, I had the opportunity to work in Washington, D.C. in local government. And I knew there were some things that were happening that I wanted to investigate further. Right? So why did certain parts of the city get certain things, and how do mayors and council members and agencies interact? Getting the opportunity to delve into that. And so what I'm saying by that is also for you to use your life experience. All of you have a lived experience that you bring into this space, that you bring into that classroom, that you bring into that laboratory, and allow that passion to come through with your work. And so you think about that field of study that you're engaging in. And also, how do you then make yourself better? What kind of fellowships do you apply for, or internships? The experiences that you will gain that will help propel you. The opportunities for teaching and learning and practice. So one of the tips I would give you, and you're going to get a lot of emails. I get a lot of emails now, but I didn't realize when I got to grad school how many emails I would get. But read them, because I'm telling you there are some great opportunities there. Give you an example. So remember after my first year, there was an email that came out from a local university that was saying, we're looking for people who might want to teach a class or two. So this seems interesting. I had just taught one summer here at Maryland, and it wound up being at Towson University, where I teach now. And so as a student here in Maryland, getting that opportunity to then not only teach here, to kind of build up some confidence and experience, but then to get the opportunity to teach there, to kind of show what I was interested in, and then create the relationships there. But if I had not opened that email, that would not be possible. Or applying for a dissertation fellowship, which I was fortunate enough to have. But again, it's looking through those emails, applying for everything. One of the ways that I got engaged in local government in Baltimore, I'm not from Baltimore, I'm from Philadelphia originally. Folks laugh when I tell them I'm from West Philadelphia. Yeah, born and raised, that's true. And that I now represent West Baltimore. And that those communities are not very different. All the same challenges that I saw growing up, seeing family and friends being challenged with unemployment and addiction and incarceration, vacant houses, all those types of challenges, but then seeing City Hall not being too far in the distance, or wondering why some neighbors look the way they did. And so this life journey of trying to understand the political process and how cities are developed and how we plan them, and also the political process and who's at the table, right? Having that opportunity. And it was being here and working on a dissertation, trying to figure out an idea. And I happened to have been working in the church in my neighborhood. And there was an opportunity to work with some community organizers who were doing some great work. Lo and behold, that wound up being my dissertation topic, looking at community organizing in Baltimore and in Washington, where I was, and how they were able to get policy changes and action in local government. And lo and behold, some of the same groups that I was studying before are the people who are calling my office now, who are lobbying me on issues, and to be able to then be in that gap and to bridge that gap. But all of that happened through this experience of learning and growing and testing one's limits. But let me also tell you this. Grad school can be very stressful. It can be very lonely. And so it's important for you to develop community. That community is going to be important for you. Now, throughout this conversation today, I'll talk a little bit about being a runner. I've been a runner. I ran high school, track and field, cross country, but I rediscovered running in graduate school. Actually, it was 10 years ago that I rediscovered running and decided to run a marathon. I'm going to run another marathon this year, and I did one last year. But it became a habit. And so in order to de-stress, I went out running this morning, part of that de-stressing, or discovered yoga when I was in graduate school, right? So what are the things you're going to do in terms of self-care? That's going to be very important for you, right? And I will tell you that those habits, they can become lifelong traditions. I didn't think I'd be still running 10 years later, but that was part of this growth and maturation that happened here. I will also say that you can't do it alone. There are some resources that were talked about today. Take advantage of those. All those centers on campus that are here to help you, take advantage of those. Those are here for you. Those people are here for you. But also think about your peers. You can be mentors to your peers and vice versa. Your advisors, those are also lifetime relationships. There are people on this campus that I still engage with, and guess what? Several of my colleagues at Towson University I met here or came through this institution, through the department that I came through in government and politics. I will tell you as a runner, I know that you get faster running with faster people. And so you surround yourself with people who are doing the things you want to do, going where you want to go. I'm telling you, some of you are going to have these comprehensive exams, right? Some of you are writing a dissertation or a thesis. And so having a support group, a writing group, people to hold you accountable. Where is that chapter you're supposed to be working on? You need that. Your advisor can do that, but also when you're studying for those comprehensive exams, sharing notes, sharing tips, all of those things can be very, very useful for you. So find that community. I look around and I think about having opportunities to connect with friends and fraternity brothers. I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha. I see another fraternity that's represented here. Or I think about our churches, our synagogues, our mosques, our temples. But I'm going to tell you also as a runner and as a marathoner, you're going to hit the wall sometimes. I know I've done it. The first marathon I ran, it's 26 miles. I was feeling pretty good up until mile 18. And now I had to keep going, and you're feeling tired. But there are people along the way who are encouraging me. You can do it. And there are people along the way who will encourage you. Those angels who will show up by your side and say, you can do it. And you also have to be that for someone else, because someone else is going to be faltering by the wayside, and they'll need your help. And so there will be times that you will feel defeated. There might be that paper that didn't turn out the way you wanted to, right? You might have that exam that didn't go the way you wanted to, right? But you all are here at University of Maryland. You're all champions, and champions get back up, and they rise to the occasion, and they fight through that adversity. And there'll be times where you will need to fight through that adversity. So for me on campus, I took advantage of the Promise program, which allowed me to have those peer mentors to work on dissertations or work on my dissertation with others who were also trying to hammer it home. And for those of you, and one of the tips I got, and this is a great tip, do something every day to push you closer to your goal. And if you're writing your dissertation, write a sentence, write a paragraph, write a page, do something, do some research. Every day be doing something to put you closer to where you want to be. It was shared earlier in the biography around doing some radio and television. I always had an interest in doing that as well. But what happened, speaking of emails or answering opportunities, someone reached out to the department at Towson and say, hey, do you have anybody who could talk about this election or talk about local politics? I said, sure, I'll do it. And lo and behold, it would be an opportunity to then engage with newspapers and radio and television. And guess what? Some of those same reporters who were reaching out to me before, who we were talking with, they reach out to me now as a council person. And so those relationships are going to matter. The relationships you build here. You're building a network here. Your colleagues, your peers, you're going to see them at conferences, at other institutions, out in the world working. And all of you are here for different reasons. And the reason you're here does not have to be the same reason as anybody else. I knew that I was interested in academia, but I also knew I was interested in being a practitioner. So I had to be able to thread the needle and be able to have a foot in both camps. And so that's why it was important to do internships, to be a mayoral fellow. I applied for that one year and got it. And I got a chance to meet one of my good friends who's now a state senator who was also supportive of my campaign and being supportive of him. But if I had not taken that opportunity to work in the mayor's office, I wouldn't have worked with the housing commissioner. And I'm now chair of the Housing and Urban Affairs Committee on the City Council. And just pushed through, and we're excited about an affordable housing trust fund that will be funded to the tune of $20 million a year through some legislation that I was able to sponsor with some of the advocates who work on these issues that have been so important. But that opportunity being here really opened the door to so many things. And some of you are going to have self-doubt. Some of you may feel like imposters, that imposter syndrome that many of us have. I can say this as one who was a first-time college student, first-generation college student, grad student, all of that, not having that experience. Or we think about those of us who look different, who come from a different place. We think about those, many of the women that are in this room, when there are people who are going to doubt you, when there are those of us that have barriers, whether it be language or whether it be ability or lack thereof. There are going to be times when you'll feel challenged. But again, you can do it. That self-doubt, that's natural. And those of you who are young, the first time I went to graduate school, I was 21 years old. How many babies do we have out there who are 21? Raise your hand. See, and here's the great thing, right? You're not babies, I'm just playing. But the reality is this. You're going to learn from your more seasoned classmates, but guess what? Your more seasoned classmates are going to learn from you. Because there are things that you're bringing to the table. I know that when the first time I went to grad school, I had never worked before. I never worked outside of, out of college. But having classmates who had that experience, I learned a lot from them. And when I came back here to Maryland, I knew what it was that I wanted to do. There are some of you who are more seasoned, who are now coming here at a different stage in your life because you know what it is you want to do. And take advantage of the opportunity. This is the last, or I would say the last chance, but a great opportunity in your life to feed your mind and your spirit. Take advantage of it. You are very blessed, and regardless of your faith, tradition, or lack thereof, you're very blessed to be in this space and have the opportunity for higher and graduate education. Not many people get this opportunity that you have that's so golden. And as a runner, my coaches always say to me, every race is a learning experience. Every semester you're here, every conference you go to is a learning experience. He would say, son, what'd you learn after this race? And every race I run, there's always something to be learned. There's something to be learned every year. And as I go back to teaching next week, I'm thinking about how do I become better at what I was doing before? Because we're all in a state of constant growth. So you need to stay committed to your mission, whatever that is. There are some of us who kind of hid things we were interested in, but no, be your whole, true, dynamic self. And others may not understand or agree, but that's okay. And it's okay to be different. I would also say to open yourself to the surrounding area. Step outside of your comfort zone. Washington, D.C. is right down the road. Baltimore City is right up the road. Go to a ball game. Go out, have a good time, because you have to have some time, not only to de-stress, but to have fun, but also to learn the environment around you, and you'll be surprised with how much that will provide for you. Continue to be that curious student, to continue to learn along the way. And again, have fun here. So in closing, I'll just say, I'm happy. Thank you for having me back this year. You know, as I was driving up 95, I was thinking about where I was 13 years ago and all the thoughts and the hopes and the dreams, and how much of that has been realized and how much of it will be realized for you. So I wish you all the best. Looking forward to your future accomplishments and seeing some more alums of the University of Maryland College Park. So thank you for allowing me to spend some time with you today. Take care now.
Thank you, Dr. Bullock. That was great advice, and it is true that you are building a network here. The people that you meet in your program and outside of your program are people that you're going to stay in contact with the rest of your life. I know that's true of me. I still remain personal and professional friends with many of my fellow students from 35 years ago in graduate school. I'd like to thank all of our panelists who I think gave great advice, and to my co-MCs, Jeff Franke and Ryan Long. I hope you enjoyed the 3MT videos, gave you a sampling of some of the research that's done by your fellow graduate students, and I hope that at a future year's orientation that I can show one of your 3MT videos here on the screen. And I'd like to thank you, all of our new students, for being here today. We look forward to getting to know you and to celebrating your achievements. So we hope this orientation has given you food for thought about the opportunities that the University of Maryland provides and the support that the graduate school has to offer to help you be successful throughout your academic career and launch you into your profession. And speaking of food, although we have finished early, I understand that the food is ready. There's a barbecue lunch that is directly behind you for those of you in this room. For those of you in the Colony Ballroom, it's in an adjacent room. Please bring your lunch ticket. For that, feel free to get your lunch and to go to one of the tables, or come back here and rearrange the chairs and continue to talk with the people that you met earlier. Graduate school staff will be circulating during the barbecue to help you, to help chat with you and answer any questions that you might have. We are supposed to be joined by Testudo soon. When he arrives, you're welcome to have your picture taken with him. I think I've been asked to ask you to basically line up in two rows for lunch. With that, thank you all, and go Grad Terps.